Raven.
Hey, welcome to... What's our podcast called?
Books are good.
No.
Tea is good. Books are better.
That's it. Welcome to Tea is Good, Books are Better. The podcast where we drink tea and talk about books. So, let's start by talking about this tea. What tea do we have today,
it's chai
Jessica?
tea.
Ooh, I love chai.
Well, unfortunately, it's a bit cold because it took us fucking forever to get set up.
Oh, it is cold. But yeah, setting this up today has been an ordeal. Okay, my computer decides to upgrade, which takes forever, and then I had to restart it, and then it decided to freeze, which is regular for my stupid laptop. So then I had to shut it down and restart it again, which takes forever right after it freezes, and then I have to shut it down and restart it one more time so that it's not like moving super slow. So that took forever, and Bonnie is clawing at the chair now. What the
She needs attention.
Bonnie is Jessica's cat. She's fat.
Hey.
All right. This tea is good, but it is cold.
Mm-hmm.
What else did we do today, Jess?
Got a couple of piercings.
Yeah, we got some piercings. What did you get?
I got my Medusa done. Or Philtrum pierced. Because I've been thinking about that for months, and I'm like, that looks super cute.
Yeah, and it hurt, right?
Like, longer than 2 seconds of pain, but I'll do it again.
Okay. I got my conch done in my ear. It hurt a lot, but it lasted like a second, so it's whatever.
Yeah, but you almost passed out twice.
I almost fainted twice. I don't know why. It's probably because I didn't eat a big breakfast.
You said you had half a pancake.
But I normally eat nothing.
That's terrible.
So that was more than usual. Okay, can we just get into the story now? We can stop shaming me for almost fainting. Okay. Anne Rice, Cry to Heaven. That's what we're talking about.
Yeah, chapter 11, right?
Yeah, so we're doing chapters 11 to 15 in this episode.
Okay.
All right. We're still in part 1, chapter 11. You ready?
Ready as I'll ever be.
Okay, time for a breakdown. So, we're with Guido in this chapter. For Guido, it was the time in his life when his voice would have dropped lower from puberty, and it's often a dangerous time for eunuchs. No one really knows why, but sometimes the voice is lost, and that's what happened to Guido. Yeah, so if you didn't just listen to the previous episode, we found out that Guido had lost his voice, but we didn't yet know why. This chapter is now explaining it. It took half a year for people to be certain that Guido had lost his voice for good. Everyone's really broken up about it, but Guido most of all, because he was a fabulous singer.
And it was his whole reason for living.
Yeah, and now he can't sing anymore. One afternoon, Guido up and leaves with only the clothes on his back and the gold and gifts he received from singing without telling anyone. He ends up in the village of Carasina and finds the house where he was born, where he meets his parents.
That was nuts.
Yeah, it was definitely unexpected. These are the parents who sold him to the... Where were they staying?
The Cutters?
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, they sold him to the people who cut his dick off. So he doesn't say anything, but his mother calls him by name, and she invites him inside, and he joins them for hours. They have supper, and his brothers stare at his fancy clothing.
I wrote down that his parents have been multiplying like rabbits.
Oh.
With the amount of siblings he said he has.
I don't think I wrote down how many siblings there were. Do you remember?
Do I remember? No.
Didn't look it up.
I was just like, damn, son. I don't think it says. It just says children showing up out of nowhere.
Okay. You just got the impression it was a lot. Okay. So he questions his own reasons for coming here, just like in his head, and tries to leave, but his mother calls for him again. Something in her voice resonates with him. It is the same tone as the young maestro he went down on. I don't know why that was a specific detail that was noted. And the man who had held his head at the castration. So, yeah, I wanted to ask you what you think this tone is and what it means.
Like a soft, like, assuring tone. Maybe she's suspicious. Why is my son giving me all of this? Why isn't he even talking to me?
Oh, wait. Oh, yeah. This was before he gives her stuff.
Oh, before? Oh, maybe she was just like, why are you here?
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Like,
she'd be like,
not
why
asking
are you here?
why you're here, but more like just talking to him like, this is my son. But more gentle.
Yeah.
Soft.
Who knows what she's feeling at this point.
Mm-hmm.
So Guido gives his mother and father all the gifts and gold he had on him, and then he leaves. He ends up back in Naples, where he sells his pistol to rent a room over a tavern. And in that room, he slits his wrists and drinks wine until he passes out. And I wrote, ... fuck. Yeah.
Should have seen the signs. I'm giving away all this stuff.
Yeah. I guess it makes sense. The dog's barking. It makes sense, but it's like, God, his only reason for living was to sing.
Yeah, it must make his passion. One passion.
Yeah, and now he
singing.
Can't sing anymore, and I guess doesn't see any reason to go on. Fortunately, he's found before he dies. He's taken back to the Conservatorio, that's where he comes from, where he wakes up to find his teacher, Maestro Cavala, weeping over him. And that's the end of chapter 11.
Yeah.
Pretty short and intense.
It was a page long.
All right, moving on. Unless there's anything. What did you write for your notes in that one?
Basically what you wrote. Multiplying McRabbits. He's feeling lost without his voice. He seeks out his family. I forgot about the suicide bit, so I was a bit like, so is this what he does when he's feeling lost and alone?
Well, you did know.
But then I wrote that.
Like any person about to kill himself, he gives away his belongings. So
once he did, I was like,
Oh my God, Bonnie is so annoying. What's she doing? She's like climbing in your bookcase.
She's trying to get a rise out of me. She wants attention.
Just kick her.
My precious.
I don't mean it. Don't crucify me. All right. Chapter 12. So we're back to Tonio.
Yeah, Tonio.
I honestly forget where we left off with Tonio, but we'll find out soon enough. So everything in Tonio's household feels like it's changing. His father is visiting his mother regularly. Okay, I remember. The last thing was him showing his mom the painting with the shadow of his brother in it.
Carlo.
Yeah. And then her freaking out and beating him, and then his dad showing up and saving the day. All right, so his father's visiting his mother regularly. They aren't going out to the piazza anymore. His mother cries all night long. Alessandro and Katrina Lissani, his cousin, are coming and going. Antonio is not allowed to see his mother. So that's a pretty dramatic turn of events.
I also wrote that his life is a chaotic mess, but at least something is happening. Which is the tone he's giving off. Which is kind of sad.
That is sad, but it is I'm glad you noticed that. That is important. Okay. Word comes one day that Andrea sprained his ankle and would not be attending the Senate or the Grand Council meetings, even though he had never missed one before. But Tonio doesn't really understand why people are talking about this. All he can think about is his mother, Mariana.
Oh.
Yeah, but obviously his father's the one who's in, like, the public eye, so people care about him spraining his ankle. They don't care about...
I'm thinking, like, he's like, my dad is, like, so indestructible, and, like, he holds him up such high regard. He doesn't think anything bad can happen to him. It's his mom.
Right.
Who's sickly.
Interesting, yeah. So he sees his father as strong, and he sees his mother as weak. Okay. It excites Tonio, the fact that she was caught in the act by his father. So now he believes things are going to, like, change with their relationship. But the fact remains that he hadn't planned on betraying his mother by bringing her to the supper room and showing her the painting of Carlo. He doesn't understand why she had changed so quickly and dramatically, why she had struck him, or how it all connects to Carlo. But we will find out. If my theory from last episode is correct, then it makes perfect sense.
What was your theory again?
My theory was that... I'm like trying to just figure out a succinct way to phrase this, but I guess I'm wasting time right now anyway.
You can always cut through it.
It's that Andrea is actually Tonio's grandfather.
Ooh. That's spicy.
And that Carlo, like, I don't even like saying it, but he, like, raped Mariana, and then Mariana had Tonio, and that's where all the drama comes from.
Yeah.
But we'll find out later if I'm right or if I'm wrong. But yeah, if that theory is correct, then it makes perfect sense why being reminded of Carlo triggers Mariana to lash out at Tonio. It was the second night, this is a quotation, quote, it was the second night after the incident that he was to learn the answer to everything, end quote. I was like, oh shit, already? What the hell? So, Andrea is called to his father's, Tonio is called to his father's bedroom, where his father's lying in bed looking frail but still regal, as always. Mariana, who is looking more like herself, comes over and kisses Tonio on the cheek. Andrea tells Tonio that he's come to the decision that Mariana must see more of the world, and Tonio along with her. Alessandro will become a member of their household and will become Tonio's music instructor. He will also escort them whenever they go out. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah. Tonio loves Alessandro. And so does his mother.
Yeah. Tonio sees that Mariana looks very happy, and Alessandro, who's also there, is looking at Andrea with admiration. Tonio can't hide his happiness either. So then, Andrea dismisses everyone except Tonio, but tells Alessandro before he leaves to make sure Tonio's old tutors know they won't be dismissed and that they are still needed in the household. So I wrote, the way he treats his help shows the type of person that he is. Yeah. Good guy.
It's a good guy.
Yeah. He cares about not only just, like, keeping them employed, but also making sure that they are comfortable and know that they are still okay.
And that they're important.
Yeah, so that they don't worry. So Andrea gets up with difficulty and goes into an attached room that Tonio has apparently never seen before.
Oh, why?
It's full of books and windows that look out onto the canal and maps on the walls of the Venetian Empire and more. It's all the stuff from the Venice of long ago, which Tonio thought had been lost. Tonio is about to join his father in the room, but his father tells him to stop. Andrea tells him that to enter the room, he must be prepared to become a man and the master of the house as soon as Andrea leaves it. So Tonio takes a moment, then asks his father if he can come in, and Andrea beckons him. So that felt very cinematic to me. Don't know about you.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, there was something about the dialogue and the pauses and the characters' small movements that made me feel like I was watching a movie. So, super well done. And that's the end of chapter 12. Wow, we were just flying through these. Okay, what did you write for chapter 12?
Basically that. And Alessandro and Mariana being partnered up together, and he's helping her with her illness. Obviously it's working because she's happy compared to how she's used to be.
Yeah, it did note that she was looking more like herself.
And then Andrea deciding that, you know, with Tonio figuring things out and, like, his curious mind, that he's definitely time for him to learn what it is to be a Treschi,
yeah. Well, he can't really avoid it at this point anymore, right? Because Tonio, he figured out there's some shit going on.
There's a big family secret.
So Andrea can't really hide it anymore, even if he wanted to. Because, you know, Tonio would just find out more stuff by himself.
Yeah, he's a little
At least I'm assuming he would, yeah.
The poor kid's so bored. Like, what else has he got to do at home?
Exactly. Other than dig up family secrets. What did you write about Dracula in your notes?
Oh, shit. So there's the part that mentions the harpsichord. And I was like, what the hell is that? So I Googled it. And it's the keyboard that sounds like the Dracula kind of keyboard.
Oh, okay, cool.
I was like imagining a harp, and I'm like, what the hell is that? I think Alessandro plays the harpsichord when he sings.
I knew it was an instrument. But
yeah, so it's that keyboard that makes that spooky Dracula-ish kind of.
Okay, I gotta listen to this now.
You can. I Googled it, and YouTube popped up, and I was like, oh! That sounds a lot like Castlevania.
I'm gonna pull it up on my phone. Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah, right? Does that sound? That really sounds like that time.
This is awesome.
So you imagine these guys in like 18th century fancy clothing.
Yeah.
Singing to the harpsichord.
It looks like a double layered piano.
Yeah, that's like an intense.
Yeah.
It's a string instrument.
Oh, what the hell?
Yeah, so like it triggers like strings when you hit the keys.
That's so cool.
So I thought that was
because I
interesting to
thought it
learn.
was a string instrument.
Yeah, I was thinking harp, but I was like, fancy harp?
Yeah.
Harpsichord.
Okay, cool. Well, we learned a thing.
We learned a thing.
All right. Let me take a sip. ASMR. All right, chapter 13. 10 hours later, Tonio finally leaves the study. What the hell were they doing for 10 hours in that one room?
Andrea, was apparently teaching Tonio about what it means to be a Treschi. A Treschi.
To be a Treschi.
And they are patricians, which I had to Google. What the hell is a patrician?
That sounds like some sort of male authority figure.
So it's an aristocrat,
Yeah.
and only these people were allowed to engage in politics.
What?
So yeah, his papa is a politician
Oh.
of Venice.
If only
So-
it worked that way nowadays.
Only the nobles can be politicians.
That was a subtle jab at a certain someone, but we can just ignore it because it would not work. All right. So his father had told Tonio to go to the piazza alone to watch the statesman. What that is, I don't know. So he does that. But Tonio gives little thought to his being alone and free because of the tale his father had told him in the study, which was, and I quote, full of shocks and shot through with the blood of reality and immense sadness, end quote. Pretty solid line there. So Tonio had been under the impression that Venice was a great power in Europe, but he learned overnight that Venice was old and weakening and had been driven from the kingdom of Moria, which sounds like a Lord of the Rings kingdom.
Right.
The Mines of Moria, isn't that what it's called?
But
Yeah.
it does.
But yeah, apparently Venice used to be part of a larger kingdom called Moria. The ambassadors of Venice no longer had any power when in courts abroad, and people were now visiting Venice more for pleasure than for business.
Sounds like nowadays.
Yeah. The Treschi family fortune had been built on Eastern trade, and it was Tonio's destiny to keep things as they were, to keep their enemies out and protect Venice from a Europe that wants it for itself, from what I understand. That's like my dumbed down version. Yeah, I wanted to ask you how you understood that responsibility, if you remember. I feel like it's been a while since we read it.
I actually powered through everything yesterday.
Okay, well that's good. So it's fresh in your mind.
All I understood was politicians in Europe trying to take Italy. Like, they're like,
Venice.
no.
What? They're like, no. Wait, is that Venice? Who's like, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I guess the Treschis love Venice, and it's their city, and they want to protect it from other powers.
Yeah, they're
taking
trying to-
it and changing it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Good
So
summary.
that was Andrea's goal, and he's passing it on to Tonio, so Tonio can also be a good politician.
Yeah.
Which I can't see that happening because he's stuck in his house all day, all bored.
Yeah, he doesn't know anything about the outside world.
Poor kid.
Surprised he even knew what Istanbul was when he found out Carlo was there.
Well, I guess he has his tutors.
Oh, okay,
Never
that's true.
mind.
That's true.
His most exciting part of his day was his tutors.
Right. Okay, good point. Good point. Oh, shut up! Stupid cat. Not a cat person.
My daughter. Okay.
She wants out. 1 second. Go. Leave, cat. Goodbye. You're banished. Alright. But Andrea also told Tonio his own story. How he knew Tonio knew of Carlo now. How he had come home from sea to 3 dead sons and a dead wife. But that his youngest son had survived.
Carlo?
Yes. The son, however, was rebellious and violent and took joy from defying his father.
You know those.
That's me. Andrea acknowledges that Tonio does look like Carlo, but that's where the resemblance ends. Tonio has character. He describes Carlo as, quote, pleasure-loving, swept off his feet by prima donnas, an idler, a reader of poetry, and a lover of gambling and drink. He was that perennial child who, denied glory in the service of the state, has no taste for quiet courage, end quote.
Heathen.
So, yeah, he was just very all flash.
Someone who lives for the pleasures of life.
Mm-hmm. Doesn't give a shit about anything
Not responsible, not destined to be a politician or a patrician.
Indeed. Apparently, marrying without the permission of the Grand Council is a big no-no, which means extinction for a patrician. Extinction.
Especially marrying a nameless
Wait. We haven't gotten there yet. Hold up. But yeah, apparently that means extinction to marry without the permission of the Grand Council,
Wiping
which sounds
the name.
intense. Yeah. But Carlo did just that.
Naughty.
He took a wife who had no name and no dowry, and when Andrea did not approve,
Did you see where she came from?
We'll probably, I think we'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there. He ran away to be with her. He actually lied and tricked her out of the convent where she was staying.
Jesus, that was a nun.
Yeah.
He took a nun.
So she was a nun. That's hilarious.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if they were called nuns in Venice at that time.
You go to her age.
Huh? Oh, yeah. We'll get there. Okay.
There were nuns in Venice at that time.
No, I just mean were they called nuns?
Oh, no.
No,
I don't
they
know.
would be called something else.
I have no idea.
Probably some Italian word. So, Carlo returns to his father, drunk, and demands that Andrea buy this girl into the Golden Book. So I was like, what's that?
The Golden Book?
Mm-hmm. I guess that's like the name of important people. Like people with power. Names of people with power. In Venice. It said the Golden Book.
Yeah, I guess it was the nobles. The names of the nobles.
Names of nobles. Okay, yeah. He gives Andrea an ultimatum. Give his consent or Carlo will marry her without it. So, I guess this was a big deal back in the day. The Treschi name does not continue, I think, if you marry a non-noble.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Because, yes, your name gets wiped. Okay, this is all falling into place. It all makes sense now. At this time, all of Venice was watching Andrea closely, his kinsman and his fellow statesmen. Would he be duped by his own son? Da, da, da. This is like actual drama. Andrea decided that he wanted to meet this woman who had turned his son from his duty.
Mm-hmm.
And he finds out that she is not a conniving, wicked witch, which is what he had in mind. No, she's an actual ass child.
A little girl. An innocent little girl who he pitied instantly.
Yeah. She was supposed to be around Tonio's age. It didn't say an exact number, and I don't remember how old Tonio was. I feel like he was like 14 or something. Yeah. So, underage. Anyway, she was innocent and young and knew nothing of the world. Mm-hmm. So I was like, this is definitely Mariana.
Mariana, is that you?
I was so wrong. So, it turns out that Andrea feels for this young girl, and he gets pissed at Carlo for corrupting her.
What a good guy.
Yeah.
Good guy, Andrea.
Yeah, he's not just going to defend his son for being a piece of shit.
Mm-hmm.
He has actual morals, and he stands by them, regardless of who is, fucking shit up.
Yeah.
which is admirable, I believe.
I think so too.
He's a very stand-up guy. Andrea sends Carlo to Istanbul, where he cannot access his family's wealth and can never see his home city again. Then he took a wife. Were you gonna say something?
I said, bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia. Wait, was it Felicia?
I don't know how you pronounce that name. You're better at this shit. I
Felicia?
pronounce it Felicia because that's how it's spelled.
No.
But I'm sure it's Felicia. Like
Yeah. Bye, Felicia.
Bye, Felicia.
Okay. Andrea then takes a wife in his old age to continue his line. Aww. And that's where I was like, okay, so maybe that girl wasn't Mariana. Oops. I'm so wrong about everything. Yeah, so I was very wrong. My theory was very, very, very wrong. Andrea admits to Tonio that when he dies, Carlo will return home to this house that he has never been disinherited from. So I was like, maybe you should have just banished him then, Andrea.
Maybe you should have disinherited him,
yeah, like,
Andrea.
Is it that difficult? Why don't you just disinherit him?
Right?
What the hell?
He's too kind. He still loves his son.
But he's
Carlo.
fucking things up for Tonio.
I know, right?
God. So, anyway.
Your child's son, he's only 14.
Yeah.
You're gonna pit him up against this
How
brother?
old is he now? He's like at least twice his age, probably over. He's got to be like close to 30 now.
I always imagine him to be in his late 20s.
Yeah. 28.
But yeah.
29.
Probably. He could even be in his mid-20s. I don't know how old he was when he
God.
knocked up that chick.
Oh yeah, we don't know. I was just assuming he was the same age as Tonio.
He could have been in his teens.
No, you know what? You're probably right. Okay.
So he could even be like mid-20s.
Oh, he could be older. Because if he was like...
Dashing young man.
If he was a teenager, and then he's been gone for as long as Tonio has been alive.
14 years. Let's say...
And if he was already, like, say 15...
Let's say he's 18.
Let's say he's 18, and it's been 14 years. Quick maths.
Quick maths. 28. Oh, that is in his early 30s.
Yeah, early 30s.
That's like 32.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so we know
he's
late
he's
20s,
around there.
Early 30s. It's his type.
We've figured it out. We've cracked the code.
I mean, he could have been 15, probably now.
Okay.
So, late 20s, early 30s.
But anyway, Tonio will be the master of the house at that time that Carlo does return. So there's plenty of drama to come.
Yeah, you know, it's going to go down.
Yes, so this explanation is all well and good, but it does not explain Mariana's mental health to me. So even though Andrea explained this as, like, the reason why this is, like, the secret of the house, I'm still like, but what's up with Mariana?
Yeah. Like,
So
to me, this secret didn't really say much. I'm like...
It explains, like, the ghostly images
it's
and
like
the whispering in the hallways.
The secret is this box, and then you only explained the wrapping around it.
Oh,
what is
shit!
in there?
That's a good metaphor. Okay. Yeah, so there's definitely
Like,
more
there's
to
so
it.
much more to that.
Anyway, my theory was completely wrong. So I thought this family's history was going to be a lot messier than it actually turned out to be.
But do
Wait,
you know
hold
this
on.
family secret?
Hold on. We'll get there. I did at the time feel a little disappointed by what the answer turned out to be.
Mm-hmm.
Not because I wanted my fucked up theory to be right, but
You just wanted it to be more interesting than this.
I guess it's always underwhelming when the reality is less messy than the guess.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
For example, yeah, when you say, like, when you find out a friend's car is really expensive and you're telling someone else about it and you're like, guess how much it cost? And she's like, $100,000. And you're like, come on, okay, it wasn't that much.
That's a bit expensive. Even, like, compared to, like, sports cars.
Well, exactly. That's my point. And you're like, no, come on.
What?
It was $50,000.
I just don't think your friend has a grasp on how much things cost.
This is a hypothetical.
Your hypothetical friend doesn't have a grasp.
Okay. Obviously, eloping with an actual ass child is still pretty fucked up.
Especially if she's a nun. What the hell?
But also, wasn't there a degree of normalcy to marrying really young back in the day?
Of course, they died early. They married early.
So that's why I'm like, is this really... It's definitely not as fucked up then as it would be nowadays.
Yeah, like, don't see it as terrible and offensive that things are going like they're sexualizing girls, because like it's normal then, but it's just the whole like taking this poor girl out of a non-covenant covenant or whatever it's called.
It's gross. It's almost like he kidnapped her or something.
Well, he's supposed to be like super charismatic and good looking and bad boy-ish. Oh no, I guess I consider so.
But this poor girl like had no idea what she was getting into.
I don't think she did.
Of course she didn't. She knew nothing of the
Like,
world,
she
is what Andrea
really
said.
Innocent, yeah. A really innocent little girl.
We should point out also that Andrea was getting really, like, upset when he was talking about this.
When he was explaining Carlo, he was, whoa. Like, usually he's seen as, he's described as being really calm and, like, collected when Tonio explains him in the other chapters, but in this one he was getting really heated and flushed and angry, which was like startling to Tonio.
Yeah, because it's like he's never really seen him like that before.
Yeah,
even when he caught Mariana smacking Tonio around,
he was calm and cool when that happened.
He was.
He whisked her away.
Yes, I was surprised as I was reading it that Anne Rice, the writer, chose to reveal this information already. It was a secret that could have kept the reader, reading for a long way through the book just to find out what it was. So that's what makes me think either Andrea actually hasn't told Tonio the whole truth yet, or that Tonio having this information now is setting up for something else.
Ooh.
I think maybe it's a bit of both.
A beautiful mix of both.
Okay, so Tonio goes to the piazza as his daddy told him to. So he stands there, allowing himself to be jostled by the crowd. He thinks about something else his father said. Andrea admits that there isn't enough time, that he won't be around to see Tonio wed or have children. He says he is sending Tonio out into the world now so that he can understand its temptations and vulgarity. He says when Carlo returns, he will not be here, but the Grand Council and the law will be on Tonio's side. And the chapter ends with Andrea saying, quote, "You are my immortality," end quote. And I was like, damn.
Yeah, I guess that's how they viewed sons back then.
Yeah,
Nobles passing down their name. You need a son. You need to keep our lineage going.
Pretty powerful line. But also a lot of expectation and responsibility to
for
live
a
up
poor
to.
kid who's just starting to learn.
To be told he's going to immortalize his father, who he looks up to so much and thinks so highly of. And it's his responsibility.
Poor kid.
God. Yeah. Alright, that's the end of chapter 13. What did you write for that one?
Basically that.
Okay.
Literally what I wrote.
Okay. When I ask what you wrote, I'm looking for anything that you said that, I didn't say.
I think I said things.
Okay. Alright, so chapter 14. Mariana, Alessandro, and Tonio are out on the docks that Tonio used to view from a distance. So it's pretty mind-blowing for him to actually be there. They're checking out the ships and the other great families that are present. There's a particular galley called the Bucentoro that's super fancy and carries the Doge's throne. And I was like, what's the Doge again?
I googled that shit.
Yeah.
The Doge is the Doge of Venice. Is, translated as the Duke. Was a chief magistrate and leader of the Republic of Venice. So he's basically a military leader.
Holy.
And I was googling, what's the Doge's feast? And there are so many feasts. So many Doge's feasts. Like, there's so many celebrations for the Doge.
Like, stuff that
their calendar
happens?
year. No, because the Doge only lasted between the years 726 and 1797.
Damn, you really did your research.
Yeah, I was like, what the hell is this crap?
Okay.
But it's so much, like, I don't think anyone's gonna understand. I didn't understand. And I was like, what?
Good to know. So they spend some time there on the docks watching the vessels coming and going. And the crowd is waving, chattering, laughing.
Oh my god.
Excuse me, sorry, I'm drinking tea. You know how tea makes me gassy. Tonio can hardly hold in his excitement, and he's sure he's going to remember this moment forever. Aww. They then go to the Doge's feast. Yeah. It's definitely not pronounced Doge. It's Doge, but it's definitely not pronounced Doge. We should maybe look up how it's actually pronounced. I'm still gonna say Doge no matter what. But...
Okay. Doge.
Yeah. Okay, we're doing a quick Google.
Doge.
Doge?
Doge. Doe as in doe, a female deer. And je as in the French word je suis.
Oh.
Doge.
Doge. That actually sounds a lot nicer.
I
might say that. Doge.
Doge.
That's just fun to say. Doge.
Doge of Venice. Doge's feast.
They go to the Doge's feast at the Palazzo Ducale. There are hundreds of people at this dinner, and the dishes are super elaborate.
I bet.
Now I'm hungry. Alessandro and Mariana seem to be having a good time as well.
Aw, his mama.
Yeah, mama. Tonio spots Katrina, his cousin, smiling at him, and thinks she looks like a beauty straight out of a painting. Okay, Tonio.
Okay, Tonio. Keep it in your pants.
In the meantime, Alessandro is being super helpful to Mariana. He's cutting her meat and moving away the candles when they're blinding her, and Tonio thinks he's the perfect cavalier servente.
What?
Which we learned what that was in the last episode, or the episode for that. It's just like escort. Not like a sexy escort. What could be a sexy escort?
It could be a sexy escort. We don't know. Tonio doesn't know.
But as he... Yeah, ew. Now I'm picturing Alessandro and Mariana. Gross. Okay.
Eunuch Alessandro.
Yeah, so we know that he has no balls. Okay. As he watches him, Tonio wonders what it must be like to be a eunuch. He wonders whether Alessandro ever hates it. Good question.
Yeah. Do you hate it, Alessandro?
Later, the carnival is beginning, and everyone at the feast starts heading to the piazza. The piazza is full of the magnificent wares of glass blowers and goldsmiths. There are paintings, chandeliers, and fabrics on display, and Jessica's pouring herself some wine.
My tea is done. I get my treat.
What wine are you drinking?
Moscato. My favorite. Peach Moscato. Yeah.
I don't know it was peach.
Yeah. Even peaches.
Damn.
Sorry, it's so delicious.
Oh, shit. Grapes are taking a back seat. Okay.
Where are we?
Alessandro leads Mariana and Tonio into a small shop where they are fitted with bautas and dominoes.
The bauta and domino. And I had to Google that shit.
Yes, I think I also Googled it. A bauta? I don't know how to say it. B-A-U-T-A. Bauta. That's how I want to say it.
Sure. I mean, how far is Spanish from Italian?
Bauta.
A bauta.
A bauta is a bird-like mask that covers the whole head. And
I said now.
Oh.
I was imagining, those Renaissance Black Plague doctor's masks?
Me
I
too.
was imagining that, so I was surprised when I Googled and I saw what I saw.
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah. And a domino is a long black garment so that the wearer's entire identity is concealed beneath the outfit. And I see that you drew little sketches.
I drew that.
Very cute. I mean, your mask doesn't look that bird-like. Is that what they looked like?
Yeah, like that theater masks of the smile and the upset. Just imagine no mouth, but an elongated chin. And that's what it was.
What?
Yeah.
That's not how I picture a bird-like mask. I picture it to have like a super long beak, like a nose.
I was really imagining the Black Plague masks.
Yeah. What the hell?
Disappointed. I was imagining this amazing theater and like people running around with these great big bird masks.
Yeah. Like just poking people as they're trying to shuffle by. Yeah, so it doesn't really explain why this outfit is kind of a thing.
Yeah, I tried finding the celebration in the list of the Doge feasts that site that listed a bunch of them. I couldn't find anything, so I was like, Okay. I guess it was a fun Italian thing of 18th century Italy.
Yeah. But
Venice.
everyone was wearing them. It's not just Tonio.
Yeah, they were all wearing them. So imagine, like, celebrations with a bunch of people dressed like this.
I would love that.
It's so fun.
God, do they still do it?
Man, I have no idea.
I wish, man, that would be so fun to freaking go to Venice and everyone's dressed like that. Epic. So, with their new outfits, they go back out into the piazza. Someone shouts out their names and they look to see Katrina wearing a half mask. Okay. Which
So I guess just covers her eyes and nose?
The same, but reveals her mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah. Mariana demands to know how Katrina recognized them, because again, they're wearing full masks and full dominoes.
Yeah.
But Katrina doesn't answer. Although, I have a feeling it was Alessandro who gave it away. Anyway, because, you know, Alessandro's so long and lanky and
he was
big and
weird. Being really tall.
Yeah. Anyway, Tonio is checking out Katrina's mouth and thinks it's delicious looking. And then she hugs him and he pops a boner. And I was like, ew, dude, that's your cousin.
Pink and moist. And I guess he's like,
oh, Jesus. But yeah, that's his cousin. Although,
well, I guess
it was also,
the nobles.
It was normal to marry your cousins to, like, stay in the family, I guess.
You stay with nobles. There's only, like, so many nobles in a city, I'm guessing.
True. It's like in Harry Potter, how all the purebloods are related.
Yeah, but they're nasty.
They nasty.
They nasty.
Yeah. Because remember in, like, the 6th one or something, Harry thought that Tonks was in love with Sirius.
Yeah.
And they're literal cousins.
They are cousins. And he was just, like, so chill.
He was so chill about it.
Like, dude, Harry...
Like, that wasn't that long ago.
Why are you... This was in the 90s, and you're thinking this is okay?
Yeah.
Get out of here.
In the 90s.
Get out of here.
Okay. Katrina asks why Tonio's father has let him out all of a sudden. But Tonio does not answer.
Why was he hidden away in the first place?
Yeah, that's the better question. Tonio thinks of his father standing in his study. Obviously, the reason behind letting him out is pretty complicated, so he can't just sum it up in like 2 sentences to Katrina. Back at home, Tonio flings open his windows and wonders out loud where his singers are. He has a moment that... What did I write here? That I found pretty interested. I guess I meant interesting. So, oh yeah, I wanted to read the quote from the book. So, quote, "He wished he could feel sad. He wished he could feel the loss of innocence and the burden of life. But if he felt sad, that emotion was a luxurious sweetness." End quote.
Is he feeling empty after that whole day?
Yeah, there was something...
Empty and blank.
There was something about that line that was, like, pretty intense. Concerning. He wished he could feel sad. He wished he could feel the loss of innocence and the burden of life. But if he felt sad, that emotion was a luxurious sweetness. God, it does sound like he's, like, going numb. Mm-hmm. He's, like, becoming the robotic sort of patrician. Must be patrician. You know?
He's being the man that his father wants.
He's being sucked into this responsibility, and he can't be himself anymore. And it's interesting that he thinks of this as he's looking out the window for his singers.
Yeah, because that's one of his joys.
That's
music.
His passion. God, wow.
And he's not going to be able to follow that when he's learning to be a patrician of Venice.
Yeah, so true. Wow. Talking about this really helps actually, like, understand it better. I don't know if you feel the same way, but I'm like,
the same way. I'm like, yeah. I'm getting more out of this.
This is great.
I like talking about these books.
Leaning out his window, Tonio raises his voice and calls out for the singers, and he hears a woman's voice singing back to him. So he sings out nonsense to her of springtime, love, flowers, and rain. And then a bunch of other voices join in his melody, and even some instruments join in. Tonio's smiling and feeling sleepy.
That sounds beautiful.
Yeah, it sounds like
nighttime in a city like Venice, a romantic city, and people just singing to each other in the darkness.
Isn't Venice the city that's sinking?
Yeah, it's on water.
Then Tonio randomly thinks of Carlo embracing his father and his mother screaming. And
Ooh.
What? Where
These
did
are
this
some
come from?
vivid thoughts that invasive thoughts that he's getting.
Yeah. And he wonders why she screamed. Is he thinking about an actual scream that happened? Because I don't remember this at all. Or is it just a random
I think he's just
thought?
having an invasive thought of his father and Carlo, and then the screaming of his mother. Because I guess he's remembering when he showed the photo to his mama, and his mother
lost it.
just freaked out.
Mm-hmm. Fuck. God, he's got a lot on his mind.
Yeah, this poor kid.
Yeah. He hears his father's voice in his head saying, not that, saying, but was she the bride Carlo refused? This is quote, but was she the bride Carlo refused? Is that it? Is she the one Carlo would not marry? And why? Why? Did she love him? And was she then married to a man so old? And then Tonio wakes up from this freaky ass dream. I don't know what that means.
Ooh, so he's curious is if his mother was the bride that Carlo was. What's the word when you're supposed to marry someone?
Oh, betrothed.
Betrothed too. So he was curious about that. I guess
so
in
you're
his dream it's
saying
hinting.
Carlo was betrothed to Mariana?
That's what sounds like his dream was about. Where he's wondering if maybe that's why his mother is so hurt by seeing him. Maybe she loved him so much. That's what this dream is saying to Tonio.
Just a reminder that my theory was that, like, Mariana was Andrea's daughter. But that's not right.
Wait, your theory was that Mariana was Andrea's daughter and Carlo raped her?
Yeah, like they were siblings. Yeah.
I remember that though. That is messed up.
Yeah, that's how I was like, oh, okay. This isn't that bad. Yeah, that's why I thought Tonio was the grandson. Mm-hmm. Not that. Okay. Just in case there's like questions about. Yeah. Okay.
Jesus.
But yeah, okay. Him being betrothed to her now that we know.
We don't know if that's fact.
Well, we don't. Okay.
It was a dream that he had.
Yeah, it was a weird dream that he had.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So he's still trying to put the pieces together. I don't think he took Andrea's story to heart as much.
Yeah,
like,
you're
he knows
right.
there's still more.
That was my next note. It seems like he's also, like me, unsatisfied with the story his father told him. Because he still has so many questions. Oh, I did figure out that Mariana had maybe been betrothed to Carlo first. God, it's been a long time since I read it. Yeah, because I wrote, I hadn't considered this possibility, though, that Mariana had been betrothed to Carlo first, but that Carlo ran off with the actual ass nun child. And that's the end of chapter 14. Man, trouble's a brewing.
Mm-hmm. Things are gonna get intense.
Mm-hmm. Just you wait. Oh. All right, we've reached chapter 15. One more chapter. Chapter 15. Doja. The Doja.
We're still at this Doja feast.
Mm-hmm.
So it's going on for a few days, this feast, basically. So
okay.
he did go to bed.
Yes.
He had this weird dream. Now it's the next day. They're back at this feast. They're still celebrating.
Oh, yeah. Was there anything about chapter 14 you wanted to mention that you had in your notes? Your notes?
My notes?
No, you just had the costume stuff. Okay. So there's an odd little moment at the start of chapter 15, and I wondered why it was important enough to include. Lena is fussing over Mariana's dress, even though Mariana keeps telling her no one is going to see it because it's going to be under a domino.
That's her siren, right?
Yes, it's like her
maid, or whatever.
Sure, whatever.
The ladies had.
You know what it is.
Yeah.
It's like a handmaid.
Yeah.
And Angelo and Beppo are confused about this, like, discussion Lena and Mariana are having. Antonio wonders why Angelo and Beppo don't just go out and enjoy themselves. And the scene ends there, and I was like, huh? I was like, what does this mean? Huh?
I'm still confused.
Yeah, you're still confused?
So they're arguing, and the two men are, like,
just shaking their heads. Yeah. And it doesn't really lead anywhere, so I was like, okay.
Maybe it's because as a noble woman, she's still expected to look nice even if she's being covered.
Yeah, I mean, in reality, it would make sense. But I think I'm looking at it from a storytelling point of view.
Oh.
I'm like, why is this here?
Why, Anne? Is there gonna be more?
Why, Miss Rice? Okay, but just wanted to point that out. I mean, maybe it'll come into play later. I don't know. If it doesn't, I think it's odd to include it. Are you looking at it now? It's only like 7 lines. Yeah.
It's not 7 lines. It's like 4 lines.
Oh.
There's a tiny little paragraph at the front.
Yeah.
It's almost like...
Yeah. Okay.
Setting the scene, I suppose.
Well, neither of us know why it's there. So they go to the piazza, which is super crowded. They spend some time enjoying the spectacle until Tonio feels Mariana's hand slip out of his.
I liked, there's a part where she explains the different people he's seeing.
Oh, okay.
His excitement. And one of the things I've quoted, Indians from the wilds of North America. And I'm like,
what?
I would never imagined in 1,000 years natives being in Venice in the 18th century celebrating the Dolce's feast.
Indians from the wilds of North America.
I guess they were bringing them back for trade and whatnot.
What does she say about these? She just points them out?
Yeah, he's going through the crowds and he's like seeing all these different races of people who aren't Italians. Like he's Europeans that are pale with like light colored hair. He notices people from India or Middle Eastern. You know, he's noticing all these different races here celebrating the Dolce's feast. Yeah, I just pulled out
these are specifically indigenous peoples of North America?
Yeah, the natives, I guess. Okay. And he was like pointing out that they were like with the feathers and whatnot, like really. So I thought like, oh, that's really interesting.
Very nice. Yeah.
To imagine that.
And obviously they did refer to them as Indians at that time, but they were not Indians.
Yep.
Okay. Tonio feels Mariana's hand slip out of his. He looks around, but he can't find her. And he can't see Alessandro either. So he kind of has a moment of panic until he sees a little masked figure whispering to another masker. They seem to kiss or whisper to one another. Antonio heads toward them, but the crowd blocks his way. So he thinks that the little masked person might be Mariana.
He thinks he saw Mariana and Alessandro kiss in exchange. An intimate moment.
It said to another masker, but it was pretty vague about it.
Oh.
So I don't know how detailed it would get. Like, because I feel like Alessandro would stand out.
True.
You know what I mean? But who knows?
Who knows?
The crowd blocks his way, so he can't reach them. And then he hears Alessandro calling for him. He tells Alessandro that Mariana is gone, but then Alessandro points her out right next to him, and she's literally standing like right there.
Yeah.
So it's like, whoa, what happened to you there, Tony?
Didn't leave my side.
And I think if I'm remembering right, it also, like, he was kind of flustered and like, Tonio
was flustered?
Yeah. Let me see.
I feel like he was really thought that he saw his mom kiss someone, and he's really upset about it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He gets, like, sweaty and, like, he's, like,
anxious?
Weird, yeah. It's, like, yeah, it's a weird moment for him. Later on, back at the house, Tonio asks Mariana about it as they are preparing to head to the opera. He seems horrified at the prospect that the little masked figure might have been her, you know, macking it with someone else. She acts...
That's funny.
She acts like she doesn't know what he's talking about, but he keeps bringing it up, so she eventually snaps and tells him to stop and that she's done nothing wrong.
Don't ruin this for me, Tonio.
She says...
I'm having a good time. Around that, I think.
Yeah. Don't you dare spoil it all for me. You can't do it. All these years, only once in my life before have I ever been out in it.
Oh.
Yeah. So...
No wonder she has mental issues.
I did have a couple questions. I was like, is Mariana just talking about being out in the piazza, or is this something more?
She grew up in a... Never mind.
Are you about to spoil something for me?
I'm pretty sure it was.
Yeah, okay. Don't talk.
Sorry.
And what did Tonio think happened that he's so horrified about? Was it literally just her, like,
I think he...
macking it with someone else?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what upset him, because he doesn't want to think of his mom being with anyone other than Andrea, I guess, and as a noble woman, she shouldn't be.
Yeah. But I guess when it says, like, they, like, kissed, or it seemed as if they kissed, I pictured it as, like, a light peck.
Right? Me too.
So I'm like, you could peck anyone, right?
I don't think so.
Like, peck your cousin, like, whatever. You know?
I guess my women didn't do that. But it's Italy. Don't they kiss to say hi?
That's a good point. It does seem like that's why he was so horrified. Okay. At the opera, they join the Lisanis in a box. Katrina starts to tell Tonio about the opera singer named Caffarelli.
The great Caffarelli.
Caffarelli.
I googled him. Actual person.
What?
Yep. That was an actual castrati.
That's so cool.
There's, like,
especially reading about him.
Yeah, he was an actual, and he was like one of the greats.
Oh, I can't believe he was real.
We'll
get to why it's so awesome that this guy is real.
Yeah.
Okay, we'll get there. She tells Tonio about Caffarelli, but Tonio kind of has to avoid looking at Katrina because he doesn't want to get turned on again.
By her little red mouth.
Yeah.
Moist red mouth.
He's obsessed with her little red mouth. So the composer comes on stage and Alessandro seems unimpressed by his clumsiness. But when the music begins, Tonio is enchanted. While Tonio is trying to listen to the singers...
the harpsichord. Imagine the harpsichord. That's what he's playing on.
While Tonio is trying to listen to the singers, he becomes annoyed by his mother's giggling and the food being brought into the box. So...
Who the hell is annoyed by food?
Right? I need some food. But he's trying to listen, so it makes sense. There's, like,
music
food being clanged around, and his mom's like, ah! You know? So, Tonio tells Alessandro that he's going downstairs to be able to hear better.
Oh.
Alessandro is resistant, but he does let him go. Tonio finds a seat only a few feet from the orchestra, and then the great Caffarelli comes onto the stage. The castrato, who is supposed to be the greatest singer in the world.
In the world.
When he starts to sing, the audience falls silent. And there is a great description of his singing.
Man.
I read it over and over and over.
It was, you can, like, imagine it perfectly.
It's so perfect.
It was fantastic way of describing him. Like, oh man, his facial expressions while he's singing, I can see that.
Yes. I have part of the description here, but it makes me wonder, did Anne Rice write this like that? Like, did it just flow out of her? Or is it a line that she worked and reworked over and over again, you know?
That is a good question.
Ah, God, these are the kinds of questions I'd be
PM
like...
Send him a PM on Facebook. Can I have a question?
Yeah. Those are questions that I have. Okay. As a writer, I'm, like, exceptionally curious. I'll read the quote, part of it, anyway. The note swelled and soared as if even the castrato himself could not stop it, and then bringing it to a close, he rushed into the body of the aria, which, without seeming to pause for breath as the orchestra raced to catch up with him, it was a voice beyond belief, not shrill, but somehow violent. End quote. So good.
I did manage to find a recording of an actual castrati of Italy.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, so...
You were really doing your research this week.
I was just like, I wonder what they actually sounded like. Like, what does a man without testosterone sound like?
Yeah.
With, like, a soprano voice.
And?
Sounds like a woman.
Oh, okay.
Basically. Imagine a woman singing opera there. Maybe a slightly, like, muskier, but it's basically at that soprano high.
Okay.
Yeah,
that's my impression.
And I loved her description of him, like, having a face of rage while he's singing, and I'm like, I can really see that.
Yeah, let's find that. Here's the line about the face. In fact, the castrato's almost exquisite face seemed quite disfigured with rage before he had finished. It was a face that had been painted, powdered, rendered as civilized as anyone could imagine in its frame of white curls, and yet those eyes smoldered as he strode back and forth now, bowing indifferently to those who waved and clapped and nodded from the boxes, glancing to the pit, and now and then to the higher tiers as if with some remote calculations. Alright. As the prima donna takes over, the judges all around Tonio start criticizing the performance, saying that Caffarelli's high notes are off and the prima donna is terrible. Even Caffarelli is yawning while the prima donna sings.
Like, seriously? What a dick.
Yeah, and then he, like, cuts her off. He starts singing the prima donna's part to make fun of her.
Yeah, he's mocking her.
Yeah.
Hold on.
And the orchestra is so confused because he obviously isn't singing the right music. And they're trying to keep up. Like...
What?
This guy was real?
Yeah.
And he was like this? If he was like this, holy fuck.
Didn't read that far. I didn't want to look up to see if he was known for being an asshole.
But that's incredible. I can, like...
Reminds me of some celebrities today who are, like, assholes.
Yeah.
Become so entitled in their fame.
Caffarelli was obviously such a dick. It says so much about what he thinks of himself. So
Yeah.
he's just like living
fun of other people.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, he's living the life.
I was like, bit mean.
Yeah, he's very narcissistic. So the prima donna bursts into tears on stage, but she doesn't leave the stage, so we'll give her some credit for that.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah. There's booing and hissing from the crowd from the ladies' supporters, but laughter from the Castratos fans. Tonio sits back and admires what Caffarelli can do with his voice, how he renders all else feeble in comparison. So Tonio is not even really paying attention to, like, the drama on stage. He's just listening
he just
to the music. Yep, that's all he cares about. When Caffarelli finishes, the applause drowns out the booing and the crowd starts chanting, "Evviva il coltello," which means long live the knife. The knife that had turned this man into a castrato and gifted him with this everlasting soprano voice.
Can you imagine?
Holy shit. Long live the knife.
Long live the knife. Can you imagine? Damn.
That moment hit me pretty hard.
Whoa.
Like, it's so freaking incongruous. It's, like, crazy. So I was like, shall we talk for a moment about castration and the bodily mutilation of infants and children?
Man, like, it must have been so normal for them to be like, that's a castrati.
Yeah. God damn. I mean, even just, like, I don't know, even just...
To me, everything's horrible.
Yeah. Like, we don't really have to get into it, but... I just don't get it.
Me neither. Another time.
Yeah.
Another life.
Well, I don't know. Castration still happens.
And it's horrifying. But it's for disgusting reasons, like preventing pleasure nowadays. Or religious reasons.
Yeah.
But for them, it was specifically to keep someone's soprano voice. Kids didn't have no say.
Circumcision.
Yeah.
Is also what I was thinking about.
Yeah, it's also considered genital mutilation.
Yeah,
nowadays.
It's still so normal though.
Right? It's
literally like I don't really know how it is, but I think the doctor, like, if you have a son, will ask you when he's born, like, right away. Like,
do you want the snip?
Yeah. I just don't get it.
Right? Me neither. Like, anyone can keep themselves clean. We don't need to get in there. I feel uncomfortable now.
Yeah, maybe we
I'm
should.
like, the biggest reasons for it is it's easier to clean. And that's about it.
Yeah.
It's not hard to clean.
Yeah. Like,
with like bits of flesh, like move it around.
We don't have to get into it. If you're circumcised,
I'm pretty sure a big reason was to prevent masturbation or something.
But yeah, it does feel like it's a religiously
don't masturbate, kids.
Religiously motivated.
Have some
bodily
cornflakes. Or graham crackers. Weren't graham crackers created to prevent masturbation?
What?
Yeah, that was their selling point.
What? Oh my god. It's hard to believe that was ever real.
Your hands are gonna fall off. Come on, kid.
Jesus. All right. So, moving on. Tonio is dazed after the performance.
Of course.
And it would have been a perfect night if not for the fact that he heard Katrina casually talking to the old senator who was also in their box, saying, yes, he looked just like his brother Carlo.
Oh. Carlo! He's all around the place. He's everywhere.
Yeah. That's the end of chapter 15.
80% of all
shit. Sorry, guys.
Ads!
I was pulling
Not our
up
ads.
the last recording of the last Custodati.
Okay.
Alessandro Moreschi.
Alessandro.
Alessandro!
Is that Alessandro's name?
Wait.
Is that him?
That's a picture of him.
Dude, that kind of looks like Alessandro.
Pretty big soft face.
Mm-hmm. My jaw dropped.
Yeah. You don't expect that coming out of a man.
What the fuck?
These were the celebrities that were treated like gods in 18th century Italy. The Custodati.
Damn! Okay.
But yeah, that was pretty mind-boggling to actually realize what exactly a soprano man of a Custodati actually sounded like.
Dude.
So, really, really mind-boggling.
Damn. Well, seems like the drama is starting to brew.
A brew!
Mm-hmm. And the next 5 chapters are a doozy. So make sure you come back for the next episode. Because shit gets cray.
Cray.
Shit gets cray.
Cray.
Alright. We've been talking long enough.
Signing up.
Yeah. Log off.
This is Jess. And that's Raven.
Hey. And thank you so much for listening. And I guess we should plug our shit.
Oh, fuck. I don't even remember mine.
Well,
what is my Instagram? I don't know. Jess.egan24. Maybe.
yes.
Maybe. I don't know.
Mine is Crimby. I also have a website now if you want to read my stuff. It's ravenegan.wordpress.com.
Read her shit.
Yes.
It's good.
You can find the link to my published short story on my site there if you check out the portfolio. It's called 2088 Adam.
It's good.
Damn right it's good. No, but thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next week. Or we'll not see you, but you'll hear us next week. All right. Bye.